Bards. Games. Games. Board games. Board games. It's what I'm talking about. Board games. Board games. Gonna not shout. Board games. Board games. It's kind of early in the morning. Board games. Board games. Maybe you are yawning. Board games. Board games. Hello, my name is Bez. Board games, that's what the little banner says. Hello, I am Bez. There, Bez. And it is approximately breakfast time, and I'm going to be talking about board games in a blethering way. And so it is the Bezzy Breakfast Board Game Blether. Now, there is a little bit of a this is what I do every day at 10 a.m. Today is going to be all about brainstorming, and then tomorrow is about Alan Paul, and yeah. Before I get into it, of course, if you are watching and you're enjoying it, or even if you're not enjoying it, please comment and let me know that you're here. It's really lovely to know that people are engaging in whatever manner with this thing. If you think it's worth sharing, then do so, and same for thumbing. And today, as you can see, it is all about brainstorming and also development. So previously, with Mondays, we've been doing a live brainstorm and development. And good morning, Alan. It's lovely to have you with us. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the brainstorming and development. Today, I might be actually doing something slightly different and doing a bit of content creation whilst we maybe discuss it and chat or whatever, and you see the ideas coming along. But first of all, brilliant things. Here's a little thing which is brilliant. Here's a thing which is brilliant. I want to talk about trees. I mean, yeah, trees are pretty awesome. They provide shade. They, change the composition of the air into something that we can breathe. They're just pretty to look at. I mean, yeah, trees are pretty darn brilliant. And I think that, trees can bear fruits, like over there. I see in the garden of the neighbors 2 doors down, lovely cherry tree. I mean, I wish we had a cherry tree. Next door neighbor says that they don't actually taste that sweet, but I had a chance to taste some of them, and they seem pretty good to me. But yeah. So that is that. Now games. What have we been playing? What are their names? So, what games have we been playing? And let me know. And Alan says, yay for trees. Let me know if you agree with trees, if you have a favorite tree, if you have another brilliant thing, if you have a daily highlight, or indeed if you have been playing any recent games. I played 2 games yesterday. I played a game, Corridor, which people have been asking me to review over on the Board Game Geek thread. So I'm going to review that maybe at some point within a week, probably. It's a really lovely, unique thing. You are basically trying to make it so that you're trying to get to the other side, but you can use these little walls to fence in your opponent, and you're trying to make it awkward for them to get to your side. But if you make a really long corridor, sometimes you need to think about, if I force my opponent to go blue, 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 I'm going to have to go blue, 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 blue to get to the other side. And sometimes there was one game which we played this 3 times. One of the games, I was almost to the other side, and I thought I was going to win. I had so many walls left, and then suddenly, boom, hemming me back, bringing me back because of the walls. And then I had to come all the way back, and that ended up being a loss for me. And I really enjoy that kind of the way that a game can twist and turn. I am biased, just so you know. Gigamic pays me money not to talk about their games, but because I've made Yogi, so I do have that bias. But I believe that I'm fairly honest about whether I like a game or not. I do genuinely like Corridor. It's probably my favorite. You know what? Corridor is probably possibly my second favorite two-player abstract game. I'm going to go so far as to say that. Yeah, so number one's Go. Number two might be Corridor. Alan Outson played a lot of backgammon on Board Game Arena yesterday. Yeah, I used to play a fair bit of backgammon with my dad. We never used the doubling cube, which I was really excited to find out about the doubling cube when I went to like a backgammon club, and only went to the backgammon club once. That was basically all I learned. Beyond that, so it was like, yeah, it's all the same tactics, but that doubling cube does really force you to say, okay, how much chance do I have? Because no longer is it just about playing the best move. But yeah, backgammon's really nice. And if you're just playing it as a one-off thing, then you play it, and it can become a little bit like cribbage, in which knowing the optimal way to go isn't, at least playing within like 2% of the best possible way to play isn't that difficult. But backgammon, good game. We played this game, Labyrinth, the card game, which is obviously based on the success of The Amazing Labyrinth. This is by Ravensburger. I might do a review of this. I've played it now with a couple of times with bigger groups. I played it now also with 2 players. I prefer it with fewer players because there's, all that more players adds is you've got to wait longer until it gets to your turn. There's less chance of you being able to build up to something clever. Feel like I might... Yeah, it's all right. There's a puzzle to play every turn. It's all right. It's completely unlike The Amazing Labyrinth again, except that it has some of the similar trolls and whatnot. It's all about just putting down a card and making sure you connect 2 things. But then if you do connect 2 things, you take away the older thing, but you need to make sure that the things are connected. So for example, if you had a little unicorn, like here's a little unicorn, if you put the unicorn thing over, let's say, here to connect them, you wouldn't be able to take this one away, because then it would be in 2 groups, because the cards always need to be in one group. You couldn't even put the unicorn here to connect them. You could, however, put the unicorn here and then trail if you can find a path from unicorn to unicorn, then take this away, and everything else will still be in one group. That is, the way it is. And daily greetings, Nick. It's lovely to have you there. To the one in the hat. Alan Oughton asks, is there any similarities between Corridor and Photosynthesis worth mentioning? None that stand out. They're both perfect information strategic games. They're very different. I mean, they're far more different than Go and chess are, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I can sort of see how Corridor, you could think of a theme that, okay, you're running around this labyrinth and they're trying to get to the other side, but all these walls are shifting. It kind of reminds me of, I want to say, Dragon Ball. There's a bit in the manga and also the anime about when they're getting the first, just before Goku turns into a giant monkey and smashes everything. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's been like, 20 years since that came out. Anyway, so, right, they're going through this maze and everything's shifting. And maybe these games are actually quite connected now I think about it. They're both about mazes. And yeah, I like mazes. I like things. And I like The Amazing Labyrinth by Ravensburger. Oh, Ravensburger did one time ago, quite a while back, send me a copy of The Amazing Labyrinth, and I promised I would review it at one point, so I should do that. They didn't make me say when. I mean, it was literally quite a few years ago, but there was no statutes of limitation. So, yeah, I'm going to totally review that. But anyway, I like mazes. I like navigating things. What can we say? I really love this game. Completely unlike anything else. It's not about placing things. It's not about making shapes. It's not about capturing the opponent. It's just about going from A to B and getting in the way of your opponent and, yeah, annoying them. It's basically about annoying each other. That is the thing. So, that's the games that we've been playing. Now, daily highlights. Daily highlights. Daily highlights. Daily highlights. Daily highlights. Listening to things and seeing the sights. Daily highlights. And for me, the daily highlights were definitely getting to play a couple of games. The other daily highlights was that quite late at night, I wandered around and played a little bit of Ingress and was like, oh, there, I can see that my housemate's been out, and I asked them to go out and raise stuff to level 7. That was, we daily highlights. Sure, there's something more meaningful that I can cite. What on earth did I even do yesterday? I mean, honestly, yesterday I was looking forward to playing Pandemic Legacy Season 2. That didn't pan out. Hopefully that's going to happen tonight because some people were a bit tired. And yeah, I did a good amount of exercise, I want to say. I definitely remember speaking on the phone with people. Oh yeah, I was on the phone for several hours with Marta Borowiecka and Konrad Borowiecki, who collectively are called the Borowiecki, because I think that's the way that Polish grammar works. And yeah, hi Marta, hi Konrad, if you're watching. And that was lovely. Yeah, I chatted on the phone for a bit with my good friend Liz, and all this time I was playing with the hula hoop in the garden and spinning it on the arm, spinning it to my thing. And yeah, I felt like even though I didn't go out of the house that much, I felt like I did a good amount of exercise in the garden. So for me, that was the daily highlight. What was your daily highlight? Did you get to do any exercise? Did you play any games other than backgammon? I mean, I'm not dissing backgammon, it's just that we've already heard about backgammon from Alan Houghton. But always feel free to chat along. Now, I'm going to today, for the past few weeks, for I can't remember how many weeks, I've been trying to establish some sort of schedule. And I've been saying, okay, this is it. Mondays are all about brainstorming. And so I might do something like go onto the internet. Let me show you the screen where I'm typing. Mozilla Firefox. There we go. I'll type in random word. And oh, this is something I've already been to. Let's see. Maybe there's a random word from a dictionary. And then I would go off and find a word, and I would be like, okay, Malaguena, Spanish dance performed by a couple similar to the fandango. And then suddenly I'm trying to make up a game. And so maybe this is a game all about a game wherein you're literally dancing, or maybe it's a game about you're dancing and then you're finding your partners. And it reminds me of that game by Jellybean Games, wherein you're sort of trying to dance with particular people, and when you dance with particular people, you whisper them. That's the thing that I've been doing. This is, yeah. And so having random input, it just forces you down new pathways. Do you know what I mean? And going back, hi, yep, thank you very much, Nick. It's lovely to have you with us. And their daily highlight is building their own model kits, the DSV-1 Liberator from Blake 7. I'm not familiar with that, but sounds quite warlike. Eric playtester children's game, Big Better Mouse. Oh, that what kind of game is that? Let us know. And Alan Alton sat on the sofa all weekend, letting their back recover. Almost better. What's in such a lovely mood. Alan Alton loved Blake 7, by the way. Their liberator was their ship. I don't even know what Blake 7 is. Is that the thing I should Google? I'm not going to find anything bad, am I? Blake 7, a British science fiction TV series produced by the BBC. 4 13-episode series were broadcast on BBC One between 78 and 81. And these are the images that we can see of Blake 7. It looks... Yep, I can see that this looks very 70s style. That is Blake 7, apparently. Anyway, so... Yep, sure is. Random input stuff. Exactly about fighting a fascist government. Interesting. I mean, it's quite sad how relevant it is. Who was it? Ignacy Shevchik, I believe, from Portal Games, said that they were releasing a game wherein in the introduction it talks about there being riots on the streets and people fighting against oppression and for equality. And this is a game based about 50 years ago, I want to say. And Ignacy said, like, it's really sad that things haven't progressed so far. But yeah, fascists, let's all fight against them. Anyway, so random inputs, Malaguena, and a playing game where you play cards at right angles to the last. So we create those sorts of floor-based dance instructions with footprints. This is something that we could all totally talk about doing, or maybe it's sorts of finding a couple who is ideal for each other. Maybe they've got attributes like and then these attributes need to match somehow. I'll remove that just so that I don't get all their adverts. And Malaguena is the word. Anyway, the point is that I'm not going to actually go down the whole road of trying to find a game right now for the word Malaguena. This is something that I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. And I remember last week we came up with some sorts of building a commune game, and in previous weeks some of the games have been worth creating. And certainly there was a poetry game which I'm now working on, and I think it's going to be a really nice tool, and playtested it in real life and via video chat. And there was another game based on the opposite of matching that worked well, and basically I want to possibly make a deck of it and either self-publish it, or if I can be bothered to some degree. It really depends how much effort it is to pitch stuff right now, because there's no conventions going on. I can't go and say hello to publishers. I mean, I don't know, would I don't know, would I be able to just phone up Cocktail Games and say, hey, do you want to chat for half an hour kind of over video chats, and I can show you this game? But at a certain point it comes down to me making the video and then sending it off, and then there's all the anxiety of, okay, I don't know what they're thinking. I've got to wait some indeterminate amount of time until they get back to me. And that's really the reason why half the reason why I initially went into self-publishing rather than pitching it. Because with self-publishing you absolutely have to do a fair bit of work, and you absolutely have to do the marketing, the logistics, phoning up the people, gathering the money. There's a lot, and sending out stuff. There's a lot more work if you're actually self-publishing. But there is work by pitching, and pitching is not, trivial. Going out and potentially having to make sell sheets or make videos or, chase up people and negotiate things. I mean, yeah, that is the parts of the job that no one likes, and it's kind of like, okay, which parts of the job do you dislike more? Which are you more prepared to go down the self-publishing route, knowing at this point that I'm probably not the best marketer, self-publisher, so it's going to very much be limited how many, or do you go down the sending it off to someone else? And if you send it off to someone else, yeah, there are actually so self-publishing, you're going to control a bigger percentage of what you keep, but you might just not be able to sell as many. So I would say that if a publisher can help you to sell 10 times as many copies, then you're going to make approximately an equal amount of money. So if I believe that I could sell 2,000 copies of a game, then if it was only financially motivated, then I should sell it to a company as long as that company is likely to sell 20,000 copies. That's approximately the numbers. Conversely, there are definite advantages of self-publishing it. The advantage of self-publishing is that I get full creative control. I get to do whatever I want. I mean, what kind of publisher would make a box with, the name of a game, the name of the game on the box, and literally nothing else, because the name of the game is literally over 2,000 words? I mean, what other publisher would do such a crazy thing? And I'm doing that myself at some point down the future. And it's a bit of a stunt. It's a bit of a, haha, I've got the board game with the longest ever name. But there's joy to that. And whilst, someone says, hey, this is a really nice game, if you want, I can get it in with Gibson's and, other big publishers, I've got to accept that if I do that, then I'm giving up the potential to ever, control it exactly as I would like. I'm definitely, because it's not that publishers turn a game into something that's terrible. Obviously publishers want to make a good game. Publishers want to make a game that sells. But sometimes there's a little bit of, I don't know whether to call it ego involvement. Like, firstly, yeah, I like the notion of a game that has my artwork. I had some say in all the words, even if someone else did a little bit of writing or proofwriting or made some suggestions or did proofreading and made some improvements. It still feels like, okay, this is my baby, and I feel a sense of pride from that. I feel more pride from In a Bind than I do Yogi. Of course, they're basically the same game. And in a sense, I feel more, you could argue that I feel more pride for Yogi just because it sold so many. And it's like, wow, people are really enjoying this. That's crazy to think. And that's amazing. And I'm so privileged. And I'm so thankful that people are continuing to enjoy it. I phoned up my friend, Ben, and Ben was telling me that apparently they played Yogi within the past couple of nights. And so that's lovely to hear. And people are continuing to enjoy that, which is awesome. But it's not as much my thing anymore, is it? But still, I gave birth to it in some ways, and it's a different kind of pride. And so if you want to have this project that you have full ownership. Anyway, so going back to the point of brainstorming is all well and good, and brainstorming is super important, because when you're sitting down, it's like, okay, what game am I going to be working on? What game am I going to be making? And fundamentally, what I wanted to address, which is not really an elephant in the room, but it might be, it's not such a big thing like a proverbial elephant, and it's certainly not something that I'm ignoring, is the fact that you brainstorm games, and brainstorming is a fun activity. Brainstorming fills you with energy, and brainstorming at the end, it's like, okay, there's this game, and this game could be great. But then that's like 1% of the work. That's, I don't know, you can't put exact percentages, but you know what I mean. Like, once you've made that, then making the prototype, working out exactly the details of what you should do on your turn, working out not just, okay, this is the approximate game flow, but working out exactly how the game works, working out the details, because um, the game design is in the details. And I was about to say the devil's in the details, but I don't know why people say that. I mean, if you're religious, you could equally say God is in the details, or virtue is in the details, or whatever, because the details are the things that matter. I mean, a game which has a card which is overcosted, even though it's a really tiny thing, that is going to have a ripple effect on the entire game. The question of whether you should have 50 or 60 cards, the question of whether having the most letters in Q for you, should that be -5 or should it be -10, or should it just be okay, you get nothing, which is how it's happened the last time we did this. And yeah, and Alan Outson's asking about the best option or route for publishing a game. When does Kickstarter work compared to the Kickstarter risks benefits of trying to sell to a single publishing house? And when you're selling, when you're pitching, I don't know if I would really just pitch to one person. I feel like I would want to pitch to at least a couple simultaneously, because once you've gone through the effort of making your video, if that's how you pitch it, or making your prototype, or writing down the rules so that they can play it on their own, at that point it almost feels like, well, if I'm making an appointment to, I mean, I pitch something to Cocktail Games, and they know that I also pitch the same thing to Helvetic. And Helvet, it's just the way that you do business. You don't say, okay, I'm going to pitch it to you, and then I'm going to wait for a year until I hear back from you. And then, so Adam Porter, Adam in Wales, has a really good principle for pitching, where what they do is 1 year they go round Essen, which is their favorite show for pitching. They show it to a game to all their what they call tier 1 publishers. So they say, okay, what are the publishers I would absolutely love to publish this game? So they might say, okay, publishers A, B, C, and D are the publishers that I would be like bowled over, and I would love them to publish this game. I'm going to try to get appointments with these 4 publishers this year, and then see what comes of it. Show it to all those publishers, and then they basically wait a year. Next year, if still no one has taken the game, then they might show it to their next choice, second choice publisher. So after A, B, C, D, they might say, okay, now I'm going to show it to publishers E, F, G, H, I, J, and wait a year, see if any of those publishers take it. If not, they'll have one final punt in year 3 with publishers K, L, M, and O, P. And if no one wants it, then, well, clearly there was something wrong with it, or they just leave it. Hopefully someone's wanted it by that point. And that's a really nice way to do it, because if you show it to a tier 1 and tier 2 publisher, like let's say I really want, I'm not going to use actual names here, but let's say, yeah, I'm just going to use letters, because even fake names are going to end up being similar to real names, and that's not, a professionally great thing for me to do, to say, oh yeah, these are the tier 1 but yeah, it, like, I got literally in the past few weeks a couple of emails from someone who's just starting up their company, and saying, hey Bez, we're interested in publishing. One of them was, we're interested in publishing Yogi. Would you be interested in letting us publish Yogi and in Iran? And I was like, well, Zhigamik has the exclusive license for Yogi, but if you are interested, I might be able to work on, might be able to either do some sorts of non-exclusive license where I'm able to buy the license back at some point in the future, or I could do some work on commission for you. And oh, I like that. Give the publishers tree names. Sure. So this, like brand new publisher is like, I'm trying to think of it like a U. If we're working through the alphabet, tree number Y, like, I mean, I'm not going to sign a game to a brand new publisher because I don't expect anything from them. How can I have any expectations? But a publisher that's consistently sold millions of games, like I'm thinking of, what's the tree that starts with A? Ash. Ash, there we go. So publisher Ash or Birch, I might be like, okay, publisher Ash and Birch, I would love you to have my game. And if I show it also to you at the same time, and then that's why EW, or let's say even publisher Fur. So we've got publishers Ash, Birch, and Fur, because, yeah. And so if then Fur comes back and says, hey, we would like this game, we're willing to give you this contract, then at that point, I'm in this difficult situation where I've got to say, hey, I would really prefer Ash and Birch, so can you give me a few months for Ash and Birch to come back to me? And also, it's notable that the bigger publishers are quite often a little bit of a longer turnaround. They might be waiting, they might only look at games once a year, and publisher Birch might actually be a company that says, okay, we look at our games every March, and so we will let you know at the end of March. Anyway, that's why showing games, show them to all your tier 1 publishers, next year show them to tier 2, next year show them to tier 3. And getting back to your question, no, there's no simple way of working it out. And the question is, how easy is this for me to publish? Is it just cards? Is it more involved? How do I have the audience to do a Kickstarter to get the money? That's something that I consider. If it's just a deck of cards, yeah, probably. If it's a good enough game. Yeah, these kinds of things. How much work is involved? Like how much art is in the game? Would I like to do that art for myself? Is it a form of self-expression? Is it something that I care deeply about? Like a game wherein you blether Scottish women need to cut length for the fast rate round. It's really making very much sense. Anyway, that title, which I'm not going to say because the whole title goes on for like 10 minutes or something. If I have this personal desire to make games in a very specific way, like the L deck, I'm never going to give anyone the worldwide rights to that, because I will license it out by territory for sure. I would love Cocktail Games to take Categorical, that's something that I showed them, and that's something that might happen because they're based in France. That's not a territory that I could ever go into myself. But I do want absolute control of being able to build this community, and there's so much work that's going into this that I feel like it's a almost multi-decade thing, and I'm viewing people more as partners for that project because I'm going to continue making more and more games for the L deck. Conversely, something like Kitsy Cataclysm, if someone was like, okay, we will sell a large number, then I'd be like, okay, sounds good. As long as the contract's fair, on you go. And it's like, how much do I care about having my own version of the game? If I've made my own version of the game, I'm probably more likely to. And how much do you care about that? How much do you want to do the work? Are you interested in logistics? Are you interested in learning everything that goes on? Anyway, so I've gotten away from the notion of brainstorming, as it says there. So brainstorming, the whole point is that brainstorming is all well and good, and it's really valuable for a designer to be thinking, okay, let's quickly think of some new ideas. Let's think of quickly 20 ideas in 20 minutes. And that's a really valuable thing. But sometimes it's not a useful thing in terms of long-term making games. For long-term making games, what I might want to do is open up something like OpenOffice, which, why is that not opening? There we go. And make a little spreadsheet. which is what I sometimes do, and be like, okay, let's start thinking of content creation. And this is really where it all starts. Step number 1 is thinking of the idea. Step number 2 is exactly how does this game work? What do I need to play a game? And then step number 3 is, okay, do I need to make cards? Making those cards, making that content, what kind of content do I put? And so that's what I'm going to start doing now. And if you have any questions, then I can take those questions, I can ramble about it. Otherwise, yep, we're going to be coming up with content for a potential word language game in which people are offering prompts. Something similar to Q4U. So this is where we might get back to the word of the day, which, if you remember, the word of the day was malaguena. And that inspires me in various ways. So, malaguena, what questions does that prompt in my mind? What's a good thing about learning another language? Why do you like to dance? Malaguena makes me think of passion. A passionate thing I have done. A song that I love. Dancing shoes. Dancing shoes. What a thing I would never wear. Clothes, nudity, an inappropriate place to be naked. Nudity, beaches, a fun thing to do at the beach. Something you can do whilst 2 meters away. Somewhere you wouldn't want sand. Sand, infinite cosmos, something you might say to an alien. Alien, does that sound too much? I know that USA kind of has alien as someone who's not born in this country or an illegal immigrant. I'm not sure. Hopefully that doesn't have that connotations if people are playing a light-hearted game. Aliens, space, a reason to go into space. Something I would plant in my garden. I'm just looking around for inspiration. Something I like to look at. Whoops. Something I like, or just something I like to look at. Something I like to look at. something that makes me uncomfortable. Do we want to have like these kind of negative connotations? I'm just going to write this down because sometimes it's valuable to get these ideas down, even though something that makes me uncomfortable might come uncomfortable. Might not be a thing that I want to put in the game, but let's go through it, see how we're feeling. So we're coming up with content creation for Q4U. Oh, I didn't say I talked to Isaac Shalev, and we might be working on this together. See how it goes. Something I wouldn't want my house to be made of. I noticed that lots of these say something, blah, blah, blah. Let's think of flowers or sports I would never play. A fictional sport I would love to see in reality. Carpets, patterns, group activities. Makes me think of what's that opening thing, you know, when she's pick-up lines. A pick-up line that doesn't work. See, we've got a few comments. Nick says, it also sounds like an evil wizard who tries to do good. Sorry, which one was that? Oh, extraterrestrial. Which one was? The name of an influencer who upsells awful holiday locations. Sure. That makes me feel confused. So influencers, just do a terrible holiday location. I mean, I want to make sure it's something that people can think of answers really easily, because it shouldn't be thinking of an answer is difficult. It's just you can think of an answer. Now you want to try and use lots of letters or use lots of different letters. So the name extraterrestrial, that makes me think of films. A film I love. Yeah. What's other things that you love? A book I love. Yeah, well, you see where this is going, don't you? A game I love. Yeah, these are questions for Q4U. These are question prompts for Q4U. So this is me making content, and Q4U, if we want to actually make a deck of cards, we've got to, I'd say, like maybe 120 questions in the end. Like a good number, maybe 90, I don't know. But it's worth coming up with maybe like 200 questions and then just trimming them down. And yeah, Alan Oughton was asking where this was going. No, this is purely just, you know, content creation for Q4U. And so, yeah, this is probably going to be the last thing for a while. After this, I'm going to just try and do more, and what's the word I'm looking for? Interviews and reviews. And I might forward, tell me, how do you feel about me doing reviews of games that I've only played like a couple of times? Because I'm talking about Labyrinth, the card game. Sure, we might play it again, but I feel like so you're saying cool to me reviewing it. Oh, awesome. So anyway, so I might do reviews. I'll just kind of tell you if I've not played it very much. But anyway, so more content creation. We'll see. Yeah, you don't want to buy too many games, and I don't want to say, oh, buy this game, buy this game. It just so happens that's a lot of the games that I started off reviewing, like Go, and Pelos is a good game. I mean, I do think Corridor's a. I'm sorry, David. No, is it David Royf? I want to say no. And sorry to the person who made Pelos, but Corridor is my favorite. I would say my favorite abstract board game for which we know who designed it. Anyway, so getting back to this, a film I love, a book I love, a game I love, something I love doing, something I love eating. What makes a good friend? Yeah, that seems like a good thing. I like that one. An act I would never forgive. That's 25. An act I would never forgive. Okay, starting to run dry, and this is when I look up. Unfortunately, I can't share two screens at once. So what was that? Random word. I'm looking up another word, and you have to trust me. It's saying cleromancy. Oh wow, this is a nice word. So I'm going to see if I can copy that. So apparently, cleromancy is divination using dice. That's what the random word generator told me. I mean, that would be a great sort of inspiration for a game, wouldn't it? Imagine a game where you're rolling the dice, and instead of telling a story, you have to then use that word, use maybe the results of the dice to kind of say when the person's going to die, or that sounds quite grim. Talking about something that's going to happen, or maybe you're using it like tarot cards where you're thinking about yourself and thinking, okay, how does this apply to my own life? Maybe you just roll some dice. Maybe this is a creativity conversation opener, and then you sort of roll these dice, and then you say, okay, this is how these apply to me. To be fair, that could also be done with cards. I mean, that's what tarot cards are all about, after all. Just closing that window because it seems to be using a bit of my CPU. I seem to have like hundreds of windows open on Firefox. Yeah, I would almost be inspired to, rather than make a creativity tool, because creativity tools are really easy to think of, and that's the idea. But now it's actually, again, coming up with the content. What do those pictures look like? And that's the bit where it gets difficult, where I come up with a random thing to come up with content, and then I'm going back to making new games, because making up games is the easier, more fun thing to do. So let's go back to content for Q4U. Cleromancy, divination using dice. So a decision I would make randomly, because this cleromancy, even though it's not, it's making me think of The Dice Man, that book about someone who rolls dice and makes decisions randomly. Somewhere I would like to be right now. Someone I'd like to speak to right now. Something I'd like to eat. I know that's a bit similar to something I love eating. Oops, just eating, but you know, it's slightly different. It's just about generating some content. Alan talks about, that's quite weird. I wonder if there was divine intervention. I think Alan's meaning it's just weird that it was talking about cleromancy, and it's quite relevant to us. Okay, that makes me think of divine intervention. I mean, do I want Q4U to be about religion? What I think happens after we die. What might happen after I die? That's not even religious. It's just, you could say I go to heaven or I go to hell, or you could say I have a funeral, or you could say the end of the earth. Yeah, there's lots of things that could technically happen after I die. Can you quickly say what the point of the questions in the game is? Oh, so all these questions, I should say, are for a game currently called Q4U. And if I find a banner, let's see, Thursday, Q4U. So we're thinking about Q4U. And Q4U is about giving a long answer of at least some number of letters, but don't be the longest or you'll go bust. Be sure to use the bonus letters and avoid the bogus letters. And this is a game by Isaac Shalev. It's a game that Isaac Shalev kind of originally co-created with Matt Loomis, and we've been talking about working on it together. And one example round might be okay. In this round, the bonus is all 6 of these, F, Q, J, X, V, H. And I know you've played this before, Alan, so for the example of what might happen after I die, I might say factories exterminate hell's vermin. No, that has an S in it. So yeah, extermination of hellish vermin. No, of extermination of heavy vermin. Yep. Sorry. Just getting rid of insects. Whenever I blow on something, that's me just getting rid of insects. So that's the game. That is Q4U, and that is what I'm making questions of. And yes, you have played, and yes, I know that I used S the first few times. But that is that game, and that is what I'm making content for right now. So these are going to be prompts, which will hopefully inspire people to make phrases which are at least 8 letters long. I know it says there at least 7, but we're going to play around with that. That's something that, and Q4U might be a game that we play, you know, potentially this Thursday. You might see some of these questions. I'll probably, you know, decide ahead of time which ones we're going to go through and start thinking about you know, which ones are more fun. And Alan Outson says they must start reading the banners. Yeah, I put up the banners for a reason. The banners are there with vital information. I mean, I take time to write these banners. I don't take a lot of time, but yeah, please do read the banners. Okay. Anyway, so going back to how. So now what making prompts for, this is what I'm doing. Making prompts for Q4U in which you give a long answer, but don't be the longest or you'll go bust. Yep, that is what I am doing right now. If you read the new banner that I updated right now. Okay, so what might happen after I die? What happened before I was born? Wow, really deep questions. What disappointed me? Oh my goodness, I'm just noticing that a brick wall over there is literally collapsing. I should tell the landlord, because that could actually kill someone. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I need to get onto them, but what might happen before I die? thinking of brick walls and brick walls killing people, how would I like to die? What age rating are we going to put in this game? I don't know. I don't know what age rating is. That an appropriate question? How would I like to die? That seems pretty grim. Let's just write it, and then we can decide whether this is a game for adults. Maybe there's like, I don't know, a bonus like 7 cards that has like 22 questions. I don't know how many questions on a card. Like, we'll work it out when we get to graphic design. That's way down the line. Right now, it's just coming up with a whole bunch of questions. How would I like to die? Yeah, how would I like to celebrate my birthday? Let's make it happier. How... No, I don't want to talk about how would I kill people if I were something I wouldn't want in my garden. Want in my garden. Yeah, we've got lots of these, but something I wouldn't want in my fridge. Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep doing this same thing. Something I would want in my bedroom. Something I would like to have in my house. Something I enjoyed yesterday. Let's have some positive questions. Something I enjoyed yesterday. Let's do something I'm looking forward to. Like, is it looking forward to, or is it looking forward to? That's not really the point, but I'm not going to... Let me bring up... Nope, too many windows. I'm just going to carry on. Something I'm looking forward to. Forwards, backwards. Just something I did yesterday. Something I ate yesterday. Or maybe something I ate last week. Pardon me, I should have probably... I might start having breakfast before these shows, you know. I do want to give big props to myself for getting up, and I got out of the house. I ran to the sports centre. You know, the sports centre is still closed right now. And, oh, how would I like to be remembered? That's a good one. Nice. How would I like to be remembered? I'm going to give a little note. AO. It's written by Alan Alton. Yeah. How would I like to be remembered? I just realised that I never gave Nick the credits. What was Nick's thing? Something about extraterrestrials? I can't remember. Nick helped at some point. Where's Nick? The name of an influencer. Oh yeah, a holiday. It was something about a holiday. Oh, this is... Yeah, it feels like a decent list. Oh, I've not got a terrible holiday a terrible holiday location. That's from Nick Butler. Okay, so we've got 42 so far. Let's see if we can get to 55. Alan Alton says something that he'd like to buy. Let's talk about something I'd like to sell. I don't want to be all about consumerism and something I want to have in my bedroom, something I want in my... Something I'd like to have in my bathroom. I mean, that's mildly interesting, but It's just about want. That's not something fine I'd like to have in my kitchen, because I seem to be running dry in ideas. So most of these are probably going to get removed. Something I'd like to say to my dad. I'd like to say to my mum. And Alan Outson suggests a new random word. Oh, that's a good shout. Yeah. Whoops. Come on, I've got too many. Oh, too many windows open. Okay, where's the random word? Whoops. And here we go. Random words. Next word is. Oh, that's a weird word. Neonatology. Neonatology. So, just getting this up. So apparently, neonatology is the study of newborn babies. I really like this website, randomwords.com. It seems to be really impressive and long words. So, study of newborn babies. So, where's my thing gone? Okay, so nah, I'm not feeling inspired by the study of newborn babies. Oh, a grebe. This is a new random word I found. Okay, a grebe is apparently a diving bird resembling the loon, and I have no idea what a loon looks like. But I just looked it up, and I'm going to stop my screen, share my screen. For goodness sake, why can't I share two screens at once? Loon. There we go. So loon seems to be some sorts of duck. So apparently a grebe looks quite similar to this. Let's just look up what grebe looks like. Hey, they look totally different. Why would it say in the dictionary that's a grebe looks like a loon? Come on, look at this spiky bits on their heads, and it's like totally different colors. That's totally different. I mean, those things are so different. Yeah, I don't like this definition. Grebe, diving bird resembling the loon. Look, this is the loon, and this is the grebe. I mean, look at that amazing plumage around the neck. I don't know what's going on with that. That's crazy. But yeah. Okay, so anyway, let me stop sharing that screen and share. Oh, I just realized I could have kind of shared the screen from a different window, so I could have done it that way. But anyway, so talking about birds, we're talking about diving, we're talking about colorful plumage. An animal I find majestic. An animal. No, that's not a good thing, because it's got to. You want it to be multiple words. You want to, motivate people to write like 10-letter, 15-letter answers. So an animal I find majestic. No, I'm not. That's. And why? Okay. Something I might see in a pond. Thing. An animal does. Something I don't like doing. Why water slides are brilliant. Why trees are brilliant. Yeah. This could be... Yeah, this could be a long stream of things. Why X is brilliant. Why having a garden is brilliant. Why board games are brilliant. Why I am brilliant. Why this game is brilliant. Why Bez is brilliant. Oh man. Oh man. And okay, I'm going to put in all of Alan Allison's things. Something I'd like to lose. Something I'd like to find. Something you need when you are older. Something you wouldn't want to take on holiday. A question I don't want to be asked. I wouldn't. I'm going to use the words I rather than the general third person you. A question I wouldn't enjoy being asked. And we're down to 63. I mean, up to 63. I mean, I'm working down, so that's why. And I'm going to save that as a file because that seems worth saving. It feels like I've managed to achieve something this morning. And I'm going to save this under... I'm going to publicly tell everyone here what my filing system is. So I've got a desktop, if I can find it. Why can't I find... This is... okay, so I go backwards. So it's in productive. Then there's a folder called games. And then I'm going to... I've started titling the games by when I started working on them. So it's going to be 2020-06 Q for you. That is what the folder is going to be called. And I'm going to say Q for you prompts. And that is us done. For now, 63 questions. That's quite a few. That's more than there are cards in a standard deck, which is relevant because especially if this game were to be made with a single deck, then there would probably be, I don't know, 3 times as many questions as there are cards. Maybe you've got like 3 prompts per card. You won't have multiple prompts. Why not? I mean, it's like, you know, wits and wagers and good questions. They just add in more prompts. So yeah, that has been a little bit of content creation. And let me know, was that a fun thing to watch and be part of? Was that intensely boring? I was making prompts for Q4U. In Q4U, give a long answer, but you don't be the longest, or you'll go bust. And that's the game by Isaac Shalev. I have been Bez. This has been the Bezzy Breakfast board game Blether. And if you have enjoyed it, thank you. Oh, it's lovely to hear that. Thanks for that comment, Alan. And please do comment. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Eric, for coming along and letting me know that you're watching. And it's lovely to have you all with us. If you think that it's worth sharing, then please do share it and give it a wee thumb. Next stream, if you look at the bottom of the banner, the next stream is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Oops, ignore the Monday bit. It's going to be with Alan Paul. And Alan Paul is going to be talking with us. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. There's definitely like one earlier game that we always say we're going to talk about, what we never talked about, and then hopefully we'll talk about it this week. But we've always got plenty to talk about. And maybe we'll get a little bit... I mean, I don't think Alan Paul wants to get political, and that's totally fair. Anyway, so yeah, we're talking about Alan Paul. To Alan Paul, I should say. Yay, Alan P. Can never have too many Alans, apparently. So, recap. To recap, these are games. I will review this soon. I will probably review this soon as well. I like it. It's all right. I love this one. It's brilliant. We thought about some games. We could make some games about dancing. There's probably not enough games about dancing. There's reasons to self-publish. There's reasons to publish with other companies. There's a lot of good in brainstorming, but at the end of the day, brainstorming is pretty worthless unless you turn some of those ideas into full things. So it's in this making time to sit down for half an hour and try to think of content for a game. It's not enough to just be like, okay, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to think of a whole bunch of stuff. And when you're thinking of content in this way, I find it sometimes useful to have a bit of music going on. Sometimes it might, oh, I hear that lyric. When I'm doing content creation, it's different to when I'm doing writing, because when I'm doing content creation, it is kind of like brainstorming in its own way, because content creation in this manner, while it's not brainstorming game ideas, it is brainstorming content for Q4U. Maybe I'll try it again at some point down the line if we don't have anything better to do. Something that I am looking forward to. I am looking forward to hopefully playing Pandemic Legacy Season 2 tonight. And Alan Alton asks, does creating content with an audience help? Does it hinder? Well, I mean, if we look back, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that would not have existed were it not for Alan. And, you know, when I was kind of got stuck momentarily, you were like, hey, how about random words, which was a nice idea. And having Nick in there kind of suggesting, yeah, terrible holiday destinations. I don't know if it helped or hindered. I think that I'm personally indifferent. It's enjoyable. I would certainly, you know, happily do all my content creation with an audience, because it's like, if that's something that people are interested in seeing, then yeah, I enjoy kind of feeling a little bit of connection, and I guess it's sort of vaguely akin to being in an office with someone. I don't know, maybe you're watching this whilst you're in the shower, or whilst you're getting ready for the day ahead, or while you're winding down. Maybe you're living in Bangkok. I mean, shout out to Jess if you're ever watching this. Hi, Jess. And yeah, maybe if this is something that other people are interested in, then sure, I would do this. I think I would like to do content creation in a variety of ways, but yeah, sure, I'd happily do the bulk of it this way. And we're looking forward to, what things are you looking forward to? What daily hopes and ambitions do you have? Personally, I'm looking forward to, yeah, what's my to-do list? I really can't remember. Oh yeah, I've got to address some envelopes. I mean, I know it sounds like a really easy task, but when you are addressing maybe 80 envelopes, it's a lot of addresses to write. And also when you're drawing a little cat upon every envelope, and, you know, you want to decorate them, you know, it's a lot of cats to draw. So I'm going to draw lots of cats today. That's what I'm going to do. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll probably watch there's a couple of shows on YouTube that I want to watch, a couple of sorts of things that I can listen to where I don't really have to look at the screen so much. I think that's the nature of live streams generally. I mean, whilst it's nice to see, okay, presumably you enjoy seeing my face because I'm so gorgeous and whatnot. In all seriousness, it's nice to know that there's someone there, but and sometimes there's visual prompts, like when I'm reviewing a game, I show, okay, this is a game I played, this is a game I played, and I was like, yeah, why not bring it? And so I can show, yeah, this is what the game looks like, and yeah, there's all these languages in the box, and there's this is a small thing that I bought from Lidl. I literally only bought it because it was quite cheap, and no, it's not actually too bad. I think that I don't know if I would. I'm not in a rush to sell this. Let's put it that way. It's good enough that I probably would sell it at some point, but I'm not in a rush to, and I'm enjoying it with people that I can play games with. So see if they want to play it again, and yeah, see how it goes. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me, Alan. Yeah, I will get your drawing done. I'll get that packaged. I'll get that done today as well. And Alan's looking forward to having a shower and getting out of the house for the first time since Thursday. Just a quick, I feel like I should do like, how is the world right now? Just a summary of the world, because right now, I know that a lot of board game shops are quite tense, are quite stressed. Today is going to be the first time that they are opening for a lot of board game shops. A lot of board game shops have done curbside pickup, that you can order stuff online, but then come to the shop, and only if you've actually ordered stuff online will they bring it to the door, and then you can pay and go back home. And so everyone's had to adapt. But today, in England, a lot of shops are opening because shops are allowed to open for the first time for a good while. Non-essential shops, I should say. So this is a time of change. Walking around this morning, it felt a bit quieter than I feared. Yeah, I'll be interested to sort of see how things develop, and fingers crossed we won't have a second wave. So yeah, we'll try and make time to get out of the house. It's always good. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I've talked about the next stream, which is going to be about Alan Paul. And if you have enjoyed this, feel free to follow me. I am stuffbybez.com or twitter.com/stuffbybez or instagram.com/stuffbybez or twitch.tv/stuffbybez or facebook.com/thingsbybez, because Facebook doesn't let you have the F and the B next to each other. But that is still my page name. So if you search for Stuff by Bez on facebook.com, you will still find it. And you can email me on stuffbybez@gmail.com. And that is me. I have been Bez. And for now, all that's left to do is to say bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye.